Hello everyone, and welcome to Tech Forum Online. Thanks for coming to learn about what's new from BookNet on library data. I'm Hannah, and I'm the product coordinator for sales data and library data at BookNet Canada. It's my pleasure to be here and talk to all of you about what's new this year for library data and what updates we've made in the past year. For those of you not familiar with library data, let me provide an introduction. LibraryData is Canada's first ever system for the aggregation and analysis of data from public libraries across the country. The system launched in summer 2019 in beta to 24 participating library systems. With reports delivered weekly to the system, LibraryData will now function as the ultimate source of nationwide data on circulation and collection holdings, and we hope this will provide unprecedented insight into the public library market in Canada. Library data is integrated with sales data, the national sales tracking service you already know and love, and this allows library performance to be examined in context with retail sales. All users of the integrated system will be able to drive discovery through the production of overall popular books lists and examine trends by genre, region, authors, and more. I'd like to take a moment to thank these libraries in particular for working with us as we build our reporting. Coquitlam, Cornwall, Hamilton, Huntsville, Lincoln, Track and the Marigold Library System, Newmarket, Ottawa, Vaughan, Vancouver, and Whitchurch, Stouffville. Thank you all so much for working with us. We really appreciate all of your expertise and help developing the product while it was in beta. So we here at BookNet are very excited about this project, and I'd like to take a moment to share some of the research data that's driven our interest in creating library data and why we're interested in capturing data on Canadian library usage. Based on the data we've gathered through BookNet's annual Canadian Leisure and Reading Study, we know that 63% of Canadian readers borrowed a book from a library in 2019. 16% borrowed at least one book a month. And 14% borrowed a book at least once a week. That's a significant number of readers. We also know that 27% of print readers and 30% of audiobook listeners got most of their books from a public library. 21% of ebook readers use the public library to get most of their books, coming in at the number 2 spot. This data demonstrates that people are acquiring a lot of books through the library. Because we already have data from the retail market through sales data, the addition of library circulation data allows us to do an interesting comparison on the performance of titles in the sales and library markets. Here we have on the screen a list of the best-selling Canadian fiction titles from 2019. And these are the most loaned Canadian fiction titles from 2019. As you can see when we cross-reference these lists, 50% of the top 10 most loaned titles in Canadian fiction also made the list of the top 10 bestsellers. This is a very high-level comparison, but library data allows us to do even more granular analysis of the performance of books in these different markets. Understanding what library patrons read and where their demand lies could help us gain an even greater understanding of what books Canadians are interested in, what they want to learn, and what they might want to pick up next. So that's why we're excited about library data, and now I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we've been up to in the past year and some of the major milestones we've achieved. Before I head into that, I'm going to give a summary of what data points are available in library data. We're gathering these 5 data points from integrated library systems across the country. We're working with Polaris, Symphony, Horizon, Evergreen, Koha, and Infor, 6 of the most popular ILS providers in Canada. And we're gathering loans, holds, renewals, copies on order, and the collection quantity of items in libraries' collections. As of March 2020, here are the latest statistics on national participation in library data. We have 195 systems reporting their data, encompassing 540 different branches across 5 different Canadian provinces. So far, from the libraries whose data we've been receiving, we're tracking data for 8,600,000 items moving through public libraries each week. Now that we've gone over what library data is and why you should care about it, I can give you a little tour of what's going to be available when library data opens up to existing sales data subscribers. The first feature is full integration with sales data. If you're already a sales data user, you'll likely be familiar with the site. There's going to be one login and a shared interface, and this will allow you to toggle between the 2 sets of reports seamlessly. The eagle-eyed amongst you may have already noticed the dual branding on the login page when you access sales data. Sales data has gotten a bit of a facelift to make room for library data. When you switch to the library data homepage, you'll have familiar elements as well as graphs showing you the overtime performance of the libraries, and a report carousel that will sort of onboard you into using the product and getting used to some of the new reports that are available. So, I hear you asking, tell me more about those reports you just mentioned. The first new report that I'd like to talk about is a popular books report, and this is sort of like the sales data bestseller reports. So it ranks titles based on loans, holds, or on-order copies to analyze demand from patrons and libraries. So when you set up the criteria, this is the page you'll see. You'll be able to select the library aggregate you want to view data for, so this could be an entire library system, or even a specific branch. You'll also be able to apply subject or language filters and choose how you want to rank the report. So you could rank based on the highest loans, highest holds, the loans per copy and holds per copy ratios, as well as the number of copies on order if you want to see what's the sort of most popular forthcoming titles. The next report option is the book activity report, and this allows you to track the activity of a single item, like the single ISBN report in sales data. This is a great way to do a deep dive onto a particular work and see how it's performing in the library. I'm especially excited about the collection gaps report. These are really powerful collection analysis tools so libraries can identify high-performing titles that they may want to add to their collections that are currently missing. With the collection gaps report, you can compare any library to any other library, or to a retail sales market to identify titles that you might want to add to a library collection. You can also apply filters like subject or language, and title availability status, which is a very useful one for this sort of collections development work. You can filter out titles that are out of print or otherwise not available, and this can help you get really an incredibly tactical report using the collection gaps. The penultimate report is the Bestseller Circ. And this report returns the weekly bestseller report from a retail market and displays the selected library stock and circulation for those titles. This is a really great way to see at a glance if titles that are moving and selling well in retail are in stock at a library and how they're circulating. Finally, we have the trend analysis report, which allows you to track the performance of a subject or language as it changes over time. This will allow library data subscribers to track the performance of whole subjects or languages at a library to help either plan their collections, plan what you'd like to sell into a library, and to see the performance of a subject grow and change over time. This can really help with collection development planning and also understanding how patron tastes in these different regions change. So that's where library data is at the moment, but what comes next? What do we have planned in the development schedule for the upcoming year? We're looking at offering regional analysis by city or by province. And to do that, we'll need to gather even more libraries' data so we can offer those breakouts. We're going to be focusing on recruiting more libraries into the system so that there's even more data available to all users. We're also looking at adding breakouts for things like population density, so you can compare urban and rural libraries. This could be a real game changer for reps looking to identify trends and opportunities for retailer or library accounts in certain cities and regions. We're also hoping to add Dewey Decimal Number codes, so you can further examine trends in which subjects are popular among readers, and libraries can match their internal cataloging standards to the filters used in library data. But that's not all. On April 1st, 2020, library data will be available to all existing sales data subscribers. You'll log into the site, and library data will be there. And I recognize that's April Fool's, but have no fear, that is not a joke. So that's everything on library data. Like all BookNet products, sales data and library data's future development is driven by stakeholder feedback. So please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can send us an email at librarydata@booknetcanada.ca. If you're interested in signing up for our newsletter so you get all the latest updates on library data, you can do so at booknetcanada.ca/newsletter-sign-up. So that's everything today. Thank you so much for joining us at Tech Forum Online, and I hope you have a wonderful day.